Hello, hope you're doing well. Welcome to session one continued. Do not play small. And this is lesson five. And this is where we start designing your program. Very exciting part of the first session here. And it's quite literally defining your wants, your goals in your life. And step one in any professional or personal development is just that defining and designing what's next for you. So let's scroll down to session one, lesson five, designing your program. We'll get going right off the bat here. So these are experiential exercises. Just remember all the assignments, the homework, if you will, although I hate that term because it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It might do that to you as well. It's experiential, meaning it's practicing and doing it. So even in designing your program, it's going to be experiential. You're going to feel things, you're going to experience things, etc. So just be aware of that. And this is actually a really fun part of the program because you're starting off, right? And you're actually starting to design great things for yourself and powerful things for yourself and things you've always wanted to try or didn't realize you wanted to try. And now you figure it out, you want to do it. So this is this part of the program where you get to start actually getting into action, if you will. And the first step is defining. So in order to fully benefit from your participation in this program, please state your goals, wants, and intentions. What you want to accomplish, do, have, or create with your program. This is you defining you, your life, and what's next for you. You don't want to play small here. This is big. This is you. This is your life, right? And it's might be a new way of thinking because what happens a lot of times you start thinking before we decide or say we want to have this job or make this much money, our brain automatically shifts to, well, how am I going to do that? Don't worry about that right now. Just practice playing large, dreaming large, and being as direct as possible with what those wants are. And anything you want is fine. It's totally up to you. It's not up to your parents. It's not up to your partner. It's not up to your family. It's not up to social media. It's not up to what looks good or sounds good to other people, which is a big problem for all of us. It's being true to yourself and what do you want. And that shouldn't matter. No matter how crazy it sounds or feels like to you, it's okay. If that's what you want, that's what you want. You only have one life, right? You've got to grab it and run for it. So we're going to practicing direct language, if that makes sense. So in this first session, we're going to use direct language in defining our goals and wants. And we're going to do that in conjunction with putting it in present tense. So when you say, I want something, you're going to shift around to say, and use present tense like I have, or I am, or I'm doing, whatever the case may be for yourself. It's really powerful to practice direct language. You're going to find the less of your direct language, the more you think about it and talk about it, you start diluting the whole process. And eventually, a lot of us start talking ourselves out of it. You're going to take at least a week to build this list. And it's an ongoing list. You don't have to sit down and get it done in a half hour. If you can, great. But I want you to keep the list open because it is a living document. And you're going to be adding to it as you keep on progressing in the course, learning more about yourself, identifying some things that are true, some things that might not be so true about your wants. So you're going to keep it alive and living. You're going to keep this going for the rest of the program and ideally the rest of your life. And this first session is basically your vision. And your vision as part of your dynamic leadership model that we're going to be designing and presenting throughout this whole program. It's a powerful piece of a powerful tool and a skill set to have. So again, this is a living document. It's going to change. It's going to grow. You're not going to get it right. So just keep it there. If you want to make it real, make it honest with yourself. You want to be courageous in defining these goals. And you're only going to be choosing 10 goals in each of these categories. And the 4 categories are the first one, career and business. So if you want to start a business or you have a job and you want to go up the ladder, whatever it might be, that's where this is the section you handle that in. And personal goals, like what bucket list, right? Have you always wanted to try this or try that or do this, or maybe start a business, whatever it is. And then also family and relationships and health and well-being. The reason why we have these four different sections because it's foolish to think that they're not interactive, that they don't depend on each other. So if you want to have big accomplishments in your career and in business, all parts of your life have got to be working in harmony and flow, if you will, to make yourself really, really much more effective. So you want to work on as much as you can, as best you can, as you go through the program here. And those are the four areas. Now, anything you want in these areas, they can be tangible, such as possessions, things, money, etc. etc. They can be intangible, such as emotions, feeling love. It does not matter. What you want is important. And you're going to put these in your dynamic leadership model under the heading of vision. And there's a worksheet there for you. And we're going to dive much deeper into what this model is fairly soon. But right now, don't worry about it. This is just a placeholder for your vision in this model. And there are worksheets provided for you. Remember, you see these little red tools right here? Those where the worksheets are. And I'll show you where they're at as we get into this. So let's talk about direct language a little bit. So one of the tools you want to start utilizing across the board in your life and in your in work, in your family, is direct language. Direct language is simply using the most direct words to get to the point without adding additional, unnecessary information, including stories, feelings, thoughts, assumptions, or fears. Here's an example of direct language. Say your goal is to get a master's degree. You're going to use it this way. I have a master's degree. That'll be one of your lines in your vision. An example of indirect language here is, I want to go back to school and get my master's degree, but I don't know how to get the money, let alone have the time. I should never have let myself get off track in my education, but now I have kids in the house, da 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 da. Notice how you automatically start talking yourself out of it and putting up an obstacle, right? So this is the mindset that you've got that is definitely in the way, and it's going to be almost impossible to move forward on this unless you start shifting that mindset. Remember, mindset from lesson number 3, I believe it was. So here's an example of what we're going to do instead. Goals in career and business. I am director of operations for my company. Boom. Simple. I make $100,000 per year. Boom. Don't worry about how. We're going to worry about how we're going to do it later on. Right now, this is just defining and organizing here. And you're going to do this in bullet points. It's so much easier just to do it in bullet points. And I suggest 10 bullet points per section. If you can get 10, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you want more than 10, that's fine. Don't worry about that either. Just make sure that, and the reason why I choose 10 as opposed to 25 is because you want to try to define what's most important for you, right? Especially as we start to get going here, you can always add on stuff to your vision as we go along. Again, it's a living document. But right now, let's just focus on the top 10 things you want in each section if you have them. So along with designing your program and starting your dynamic leadership model and defining your wants and goals, etc., you're going to take the VIA Signature Strength Survey. This is you taking a VIA Character Strength Survey. This will take about 60 minutes, and so please provide yourself the proper amount of time to complete this. This is really fun and really interesting when you get the results, and you get the results almost immediately. Now, this is not a download, though. You've got to go to this website here, right over here, and this is part of the Psychology of Happiness program that's been around for, wow, 20, 25 years now. I actually took some courses through them, and so that's part of this here as well. So you're going to take that strengths test, and it's going to find it really enlightening. Maybe you already know this stuff about yourself, maybe not, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I promise you that. So part of the assignments is you're going to complete a self-assessment and discovery document whenever you feel like you've learned something or observed something about yourself, or you've experienced emotions, thoughts, behavior patterns, etc. Here's a big hint. Remember, mindsets, right? The larger your goals and dreams are, the more your mindsets start to show up as either excitement, happiness, anticipation, or fear, self-doubts, I'm not worthy conversations. And now there's probably some more areas in there, but generally speaking, your mindset will fall into one of those two sections. So just be aware of that. Now you want to observe that. And it's not right or wrong. Remember, mindsets are not right or wrong. They are just whether they are effective and helpful and useful to you or not. And that's what you want to start discovering about yourself. What are my mindsets around all these things? So these are lessons learned. They are self-discoveries. You want to put these in your self-assessments. And ideally, in a perfect world, you would do it immediately when you can, when you have that little aha moment, right? Not always possible by any stretch of the imagination. So you want to, if you have a little, if you see yourself, especially when you're doing this exercise, write down what you discover. Just write it down in a little note, and then go to the assessment when you can get there, right, etc. So it's important to start documenting this stuff for yourself. You're going to find the more you write something down, the more it solidifies in your mind, and it's not something that just filters away and you forget all about it. So one of the things to be aware of when you play large, um, your mind automatically jumps to how I'm going to get there. So say you put in your goal, I want to make I'm making $100,000 a year. You're going to notice immediately that pull. You're going to start thinking, oh, but how am I going to do that? And you're going to start talking yourself out of it so much, or start worrying about it way too much. That's down the road in this program. We're going to worry about how to get there. And that's part of the whole process of what you're building. So just don't worry about the fear conversations, the how am I going to get there conversations. Just write it down. Don't put the horse before the cart here. Right now, we're just working on defining what it is you want. And last but not least, this is a great session. This is fun. You are defining and deciding and going and designing your program in basically essentially your life, right? Where you're going, your vision. And this is a great, great exercise. This is a powerful, powerful section. So go have a lot of fun doing it. Go crazy. Amaze yourself. Scare yourself. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you want. You want to go get it. You want to go after it. I promise we're here to help you get that. So don't play small. Go for this. I thank you. Again, any questions, you give us a shout if we can be of any help. Remember, you're going to be having your community group coaching session soon. So make sure you participate in that. And again, just do the work. And remember, this is powerful stuff for you, and you are worth every second of it. So go for it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next session.